Welcome to the What in the Shibal podcast with Susie and Ed.
We're just two Asian Americans talking shit about shit.
All the time.
Hi, Ed. How are you?
Good. How was your week?
It was good. I just got back from D.C. Yesterday was my husband's birthday, so we took our little mini family vacation to D.C. where he grew up. He says he's from D.C., but he actually grew up in Maryland.
Yeah.
Which I guess is just how people say it. I'm like, well, so then you grew up in Maryland. He's like, no, I grew up in D.C. I'm like, you said you grew up in Maryland. I'm like, that's fine. I get it.
Yeah, it's I guess because it's like one of the more closest metros, but it's odd that some people don't claim Baltimore.
Well, right.
Because they're like 30 minutes from each other.
He's from a place called, I can't remember it now. It's a little town. But, but people from Virginia and from Maryland all say they're from D.C. And I'm like, but you're from Maryland and Virginia. But that's okay.
Yeah.
You can say
Unless
whatever
they
you
say
want.
they're from the DMV, which is D.C., Maryland, Virginia.
Right. Nonetheless, whatever. It was fucking so humid and so hot. And we were going to take my husband out to like a nice dinner for his birthday. And we made a reservation. And then we were shopping down in Georgetown. And all of a sudden I see all the stores closing and putting signs, because of bad weather, the store has to close. And I was like, we better figure out what's going on. So we go and we look and we come to find out that a terrible storm is about to come through and there is the potential for a tornado. So I was like, maybe we don't go to dinner. Maybe we just stay at the hotel. And fortunately, actually, the food at the hotel was great. But, we did a little shopping. He caught up with some old friends. I was sick the whole time, but it's fine. I'm getting better finally. Excuse me. But, that's been my week. I got back yesterday and I'm just like, whenever I travel, I'm always a little out of it. I'm not a great traveler,
Yeah, I always need like a day or two or like a week to unwind.
Yeah, you didn't give me that opportunity because you're like, well, then I guess we'll have to do the podcast today. I'm like, yay, fine, no problem. No decompressing for me.
Not like this is work. We're just sitting and talking. You have to drive here, yes.
I was like, wait. Wait, what? It's not? For who? I'm just kidding. How was your week?
Well, at least you weren't in Hawaii though.
Oh my God. It's so bad what's happening there. I wouldn't vacation in Hawaii anyway, just because I know that local and native people are just like, could you not visit?
I don't know how to feel about that because I've never been. I never got to go. No,
which I understand, but I totally understand too. I think a lot of people who come to the islands on vacation do not treat their resources respectfully, do not treat their land or their people respectfully. So it's like, yeah, you know what? I wouldn't want tourists to come to fuck up my homeland either, so.
Yeah. Unless one of you guys personally invites me for
if a local would like
tour
to show us the most
heritage.
Respectful way for a visitor to go to Hawaii, if there were one, and that includes a really nice first-class ticket from Hawaiian Airlines.
Well, minus that part, that's the kind of travel I'd be interested in anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
The food, the culture.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's my whole thing is like, I don't really love doing touristy things, which is why I don't love to travel to most like big cities and places like that. We only went to DC because like I said, my husband's, friends are there. But I don't know, like how many monuments and things. It's just like not what I want to do. Oh my God, dude, my ex-husband's mom, anytime we'd go anywhere, it was like a fucking itinerary and like, we're going to go see this monument and we're going to go see this place and this Capitol building. I'm like, this is so boring. I don't want to do any of this shit. I want to go to like a pub or like a bar and meet local people and eat like local food. This fucking sucks.
Yeah, restaurant hopping is what sounds awesome.
For sure. Like I want to go and like go to like really good bars and stuff like that.
But speaking of which, if you're listening or watching, you don't know, Hawaii is having a horrible time with natural disasters right now. First, there was a wildfire.
Yeah.
I don't know why that was so hard to say, a wildfire.
Right.
Which I don't know. Do we know what caused it so far? Was it?
I think the wildfires are pretty common there, like they are in California.
Yeah. Which is actually surprising because it's humid,
so lush
in Hawaii, right?
Yeah, there's so much like foliage.
Yeah, that's fair. And then the volcanoes and stuff like that.
Right.
Taurus, we don't know.
Right.
Combined with the fact that they then had a hurricane come through, and then with all those winds, it was just like feeding the flames of the fire and blowing it everywhere. So there's literally videos of people jumping into the ocean to run away from the fire.
It's so scary.
It's terrifying.
It's so scary.
And between all the, the scorched earth, it just, it doesn't look like
The photos and the videos are
It's terrifying.
terrifying. It looks like the end of the world. It really, really does. We don't have any now, but we'll get some links to go, to send, any aid or money or anything that we can do, just because it's a really horrible, horrible situation to be in.
Yeah, obviously this isn't helpful for Hawaii, but I read this article last week that California is deploying might be the right word, deploying a bunch of goats to eat up all the dead shrubs.
Where?
Along the coastal,
here?
In California, they're like deploying a bunch of goats to try to eat up all the dead shrubs and stuff because that's typically what catches fire.
Yeah.
So they're trying to take preventative measures.
I've lived in California my whole life. And when I was like 5 years old, maybe, or no, I was younger. I was like maybe 3 or 4 because my sister was a baby. I lived with my grandmother and my parents, obviously, and my sisters. And a really bad fire broke out where we live, because we live like in the mountains. And it was before it was like developed. So we lived at the top of this hill that now it's like fully developed and like there's houses everywhere, but it used to just be mountains. And I don't remember a lot just because I was so young. But I remember because the winds really whip up in California. We also lived like kind of in a canyon. And so I just remember like watching the curtains. Like this is like a really vivid memory I have of the white curtains in our house just blowing like they're almost like, horizontal. And I could see over the mountain, like this wall of flames, like coming down the mountain. And my grandmother didn't speak any English. She didn't drive. It was me, my older sister, who was like, what, if I was 3 or 4, she was probably 10.
Oh, okay.
Or like 12. And then my sister, who was a baby, and just the 4 of us in the house. And like, there are like flames like rolling down the mountains. Like we can see them. And then I don't remember like what happened next, but I was told that we went to our neighbor's house, this older lady named Margaret, God rest her soul. She took us to a junior high that was probably like 5 miles from where we live. But my parents didn't know that. And there was no cell phones then. That my grandma didn't like think to leave a note. It was just like a fucking chaotic emergency.
Like, we need to escape this fire.
Right.
We might die.
So my parents come home and they just see this empty house, all the windows open, smoke and ash everywhere. They're like, where are the children? I don't even know how they found us. I should actually go back. I bet you they don't remember either, because this is, 45 years ago. But they were just like, we came home, there was nobody here, there was just flames and fire. The fire department let us in because we lived there, but when we wanted to save the children, but there were no children to save. It's crazy.
Where did you take our children? We didn't take them. So but they're not there.
Right? So fires and things like that. I mean, growing up in LA, it's just something that you're used to. So I know like the terror, and I know the people in Maui are also quite accustomed to those things as well, but it's just a really life-changing situation. So our hearts go out to them. It's really, it's so scary and so sad.
Yeah, there was one gut-wrenching part where I saw a post where someone said, I don't know what you believe in, but we could use your prayers.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh, yeah, that's very much for the moment.
All our brothers and sisters in Hawaii right now, which I'm assuming there's no way you're listening to this because you're taking care of more important things, but we do want to let you know that,
we're sending our love and support to all of you, and we wish you the absolute best during the absolute worst.
And more practically, if there's other things that we can come across after this filming, we would also look into those.
If any of you guys have any great foundations that you think we should donate to or anything like that, please, of course, let us know.
But other than that...
Wait, but how was your week?
My week? Yeah. It's good. It was good. The time just happens to fly by so quickly that I'm just like, what did I even do?
Right. Isn't your mom still in town?
Yeah, so my mom is in town, but she actually flew to North Carolina on Saturday to go visit a family friend.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so she's going to stay with them. But as I was dropping them off at the airport, my mom started having like a coughing fit as she was going through security.
Oh,
like, as I was like,
no.
Bye, I love you, I hug you. And as she was leaving, she was like, oh, she's like, turning around. And then she started coughing and people started going by her. And then I was like, first, stop cutting off my mom. But also, too, I was like, then hyper-vigilantly, like, staring to be like, if anyone says anything, makes a face or anything, I was like, I'm going to jump that line. And people's asses are going to get beat.
Yeah, jumping the line at the airport is not what you want to do.
It's a felony on its own,
I was like, I don't know if I can even bail you out of that. I don't think I can. I don't think I'm allowed.
Susie.
I'm like, Edward, I told you not to beat people up at the airport and jump the line.
We can't record this week. Also, I need you to bail me out.
Exactly.
Then maybe we could.
But she got on her plane okay.
And she got on her plane okay. Luckily, my aunt actually, so my mom doesn't want to pay for her phone to work here. But luckily, my aunt just recently had this like backup burner phone that her husband Doug got using. I guess because like they're originally from Illinois and they didn't change their numbers. He was applying for new jobs and he wanted to have a local number. So he got like a burner phone.
Got it.
Luckily, they were like, oh, we just stopped using this a week ago. So they gave it to my mom. Right. And I was like, so now she has this flip phone.
Oh, I miss flip phones.
That I then had to teach her how to reuse because it's been so long. You know? I was like, to text, you have to press 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. To get to C, you have to press 2, 1, 2, 3 times.
Oh my God. That was so crazy. I can't believe we got through it. I can't believe we got through those days. Like, I don't even like text anymore. I like voice to text. I'm too lazy to even do that. I'm just
oh my God. I just showed my mom how to do that.
Oh, no, be careful.
Oh yeah. Your mom. Yeah.
Mommy's a whore.
Yeah, but like, I walked into the kitchen to my mom doing this the other day. And for those of you listening, like her phone was like 3 feet away from her face, tilted. Her eyes are tilted. She's like looking down, trying to make out the words. She's like typing with her one finger, like one consonant at
poor thing.
time. And I was like, Mom, do you not know about text-to-talk? And she's like, what's that?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh God. So I showed her the button and she's like, I've been wasting hours. And then you want to know what's crazy? Then she just goes right back to texting because it's comfortable.
Did she text you in Korean?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I was like, Mom, you didn't realize that one day my spelling went from atrocious to perfect overnight? I was like, it's because talk to text. It does all the spelling for me. I was like, I don't have to do any.
Genius. Oh, that's actually a good call. It's been a really crazy week. The week I, go on vacation and I'm like, I'm going to stay away from my phone. I'm going to try to like not engage too much on social media. I really want to be in the moment. Like so many things on social media has happened. Oh my God. Like the Lizzo thing.
Yeah. I took like a couple days off and so much happened. Lizzo.
You can't take time off. Right before I left, the Ariana Grande thing kind of broke, which like, if anybody doesn't know, I guess supposedly was having an affair with her co-star for Wicked, who was the guy who played SpongeBob, and he left his wife of 10 years or so who had just had a baby like a year ago. God. I don't know what the update is on that because I haven't been able to catch up. I don't know that I even care enough to catch up, but I was just like, I don't want to either. But that was where I left off.
But it's also like same, but different, right? Because like she supposedly has a history of wrecking.
Yeah, that's kind of her MO is like every relationship that I think recently, like the last 5 or 6 relationships, the person that she was in the relationship with was already in a relationship with somebody else. And I mean, she has that song, "Break Up with Your Girlfriend Because I'm Bored." Like that's
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, you know that song, right? Play a clip here. "Break up with your boyfriend because I'm bored." Like that's a whole thing.
I do not know that song.
Yeah, if you heard it, you'd know it. I'm not gonna sing it for you right now.
You already did.
I'm very sorry, and I'm sick. Don't know how I sound. And so then that happened, and then the whole Lizzo thing happened, which is also funny because if you don't know, I mean, you'd have to be living under a rock.
You have to know.
You'd have to know. Like she's being sued by multiple people for so many things. I think the lawsuit was like 37 pages.
Holy cow.
37 pages, including things from sexual harassment, like fat phobia, what was it? Like just a hostile work environment, just like all of these things.
Threats, all of it.
All the things that you would never, ever think Lizzo would ever embody is what she's being accused of, which is such a mind blower. And obviously, of course.
But it also it's also not unbelievable. Because she does say off the cuff things all the time.
She does.
You just kind of chalked it up. At least I did to like quirkiness. Like, oh, she's just,
But she's just such a champion and advocate for all the things that she's being directly sued for is that she is against. You know what I mean? So to hear people say that like she tried to threaten them and fight them or like fat shame them is what? You know what I mean? It's wild and it's so. And again,
it's hard to wrap your mind around.
It really is.
Because she had embodied this like public image of, like you said, just being this champion, this like very progressive, like
absolutely
accepting yourself. And all of that is if this is true, which, you know,
We
I
don't
always
know.
do tend to try to believe victims. And like in this case,
Sure.
it's a little crazy because there's so many
Right.
people. There are people who are not even a part of the lawsuit coming out and being like, I had a similar experience. I believe
Right.
them. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, she had a song too that almost preface. No, what's the word?
Like predicted? Like,
Foreshadowed.
Foreshadowed, yes.
Foreshadowed.
I was like, it's a literary term.
Yeah, where she's in the song, I think it's in the song Girls, where she's talking about like girls trying to sue her, but you signed an NDA and I don't give a fuck. And it's like, and now it's like actually happening. So it's like, hey, if you write music and sing songs, be really careful about the things, because you're speaking these things into reality.
Ego. It's not even just about musicians.
Maybe
People
it's
with
ego.
egos,
You know what? That's actually probably a better
leave
point.
trails all over the place because at
Right.
one point you're like, I'm untouchable.
I'm untouchable.
Yep.
You can't phase me. I could even sing about it and you can't, come for me. And they're coming.
No,
They're here.
We're all fallible. We're all human.
I of all the people though on earth, Lizzo, my youngest daughter loves Lizzo. And I had to tell her, and I guess this is a good lesson too, is like, be careful how deeply and who you idolize, because again, they are at the end of the day, just human beings and we have to hold them to the same human standards that we hold everybody else. But she was like, I was talking to my husband. I was like, yeah, and the whole Lizzo thing. And she goes, Lizzo, I love Lizzo. Lizzo's for the girls. And I was like, I'm so
Girl,
sorry.
not anymore.
And I was like, and I told her in the most kid-friendly way, I was like, Lizzo's going through some stuff right now. And, unfortunately with some people, with all people, sometimes they're not who we think they are.
Yeah.
And we have to really kind of approach people with good judgment and know that, and also that people are human and that people make mistakes. And when you make mistakes, well, I'm telling this to an 8-year-old girl who whose heart I'm trying to spare.
You're trying to teach them the idea of fuck around and find out. You're trying to teach them this idea of like fuck around and find out without using those words.
Exactly. And like this is my youngest loves her because she to her embodied all the things, she's a little girl of color, she's a little thick around the middle. She's, what I mean? All these things. And she's like, I feel good because Lizzo told me to feel good. And now I'm like, but she told a lot of people to feel bad.
And this is already heartbreaking on its own. But like, for those of you who know Susie's younger daughter, she's like this, like she's so wholesome. She's very
joyful.
But she's also just has this like, innocence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She really
does. And if
does.
you know that, it's
so
even more heartbreaking.
And to tell her, like, to break her heart that, the person that she looked up to Lizzo so much. Anytime Lizzo comes up, anytime Lizzo there was a poster of Lizzo I think we were at the Forum or something, and she had an upcoming show or something like that. And she was like, oh my God, I have to go to this concert. And I was like, we can't afford it. But like, she's like, can I just at least take a picture with the poster? I was like,
oh my God.
She's just like, and she, I know. And, she just, and I think a lot of people collectively feel the same way.
I felt exactly the same way.
To just feel so like let down.
I championed the shit out of Lizzo.
Me too.
I thought that she was very genuine. I've literally liked every single one of her videos that popped up on my feed.
She's one of the only celebrities I follow.
I just realized that I have yet to unfollow her. Yeah, are you going to unfollow her?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just trying to be like optimistic. I know I probably will, but like even when the whole
judgment.
Even when the whole there was a little judgment. A little. There's more than a little.
I was correcting myself.
But the thing is like when the whole thing happened where I can't remember what song she used the slur. I guess it's a slur. Can I say it? No. Okay. Well, she says an ableist term in a song, and after she released the song, she found out, and then she like re-recorded it. She taken the word out. Like it was so fast. It was so swift, and it was very much like, yeah, I fucked up. I didn't know, and now I know, and I'm going to change it. And it was so easy. So it's like, how can that be the same person? I think that to me is like. That to me is what really fucks me up. It fucks me up.
I do see what you're saying, but someone playing devil's advocate could easily say that she's just become very good at manipulating her public image.
Which is absolutely probably the case. But also though, don't you have to think like, how could she do something so blatant out in the open with her dancers and whatever? NDA notwithstanding, like to do that and think that she was not going to, that she was going to get away with it.
An NDA does a lot.
It does, but it doesn't clearly doesn't do everything.
It doesn't, because at some point people can only take so much, right? But I think there is. But if you look at some of the elites in Hollywood, there is a very reoccurring theme of people thinking that they're untouchable, because I think to a certain point, they are protected.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like, take a look at Kanye, right? Clearly that man needs help.
Right.
But people aren't giving him the help because they're making them money.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think it's the same thing. I think they protect them. And like the people around her rely on her for their income. So I think they do what they can to hide the shit that they do, which I think just inflates them more. And I'm not saying that it's necessarily the case with Lizzo, but it just seems like that happens a lot in Hollywood.
But can it be true?
I know.
I
don't want it to be true either, but like that's the thing. That's the thing with me, is that like, one, I want to try to believe victims as much as possible. But then when there are so many victims that come out, it's like really hard to refute that there are so many people who have the same story.
I know.
And if it was just the people who are in the lawsuit, I'd be one thing. But there are people who are not in the lawsuit being like, this is true.
I know.
But weirdly enough, not to derail from the topic, but speaking of NDAs, this past week, I did watch a movie that I'm not allowed to talk about, so I don't even know why I'm bringing it up. But Susie's face right now is like, why are you bringing it up?
So there was a thing, and I can't tell you anything about it, but
I'm doing that right now.
That was what happened. Okay, well, I feel like you're going to get yourself in trouble.
I didn't say anything, but either way, the point was...
What happens if I guess?
I bet you won't. But I watched this movie that I won't confirm or deny.
Okay.
And it was like half the CGI was like in...
Yeah, these are all the clues that you gave me that maybe put a...
wireframe, like, you know, like very raw. And it was decent. It was a movie I probably wouldn't have watched otherwise.
Why are you telling us this?
But it was good. I don't know.
Okay. I was like, wait. Oh, because you signed an NDA.
Yeah.
That's why.
That's what triggered it. And I was like, what did I do this week? And I'm sweating now.
We might be doing some very creative editing come this week. Also, something that we have to talk about, we absolutely have to talk about, is the Alabama Slamma boat
Brawl?
Kablama.
Kablama.
God.
Alabama
Why
Slamma
is it calling it Kablama? Okay, I'm copywriting it right now. I said it.
I actually didn't watch any of the videos until like minutes ago.
Watch it. We're watching it. Can we play parts of it right now?
Yeah.
Okay, let me just set it up. So in Montgomery, Alabama, there was a boat. A ferry boat carrying a lot of people.
Is it a gambling boat?
I don't think so. I think it's
I'm only asking that question because I watched that show on Netflix.
Riverboat gambling show?
Yeah, but there was a show. What was that show? With that guy that looks like Nathan Fillion.
You're really nailing it today, Ed. Anyway, so it might have been, but there was like a lot of people on it. I know that there was also like a reunion on it, like a...
Oh, yeah, like a school reunion.
Yeah, a school reunion, like a high school reunion was
like
on it.
75.
Okay, so mind you, these people are in their like 60s, like what, 66, 67 years old, something like that. And so they're waiting to dock. I think the river cruise is over or whatever. There's this pontoon boat that is blocking where they're supposed to park. So it's blocking where this boat is supposed to dock, the river cruise. So the boat co-captain like gets on the loudspeakers like, hey, you guys, can you move your boat? We're supposed to dock here. And I guess over the course of like 30 minutes, it takes them 30 minutes. They're not moving. And in the interim, my understanding is that they're like giving them the finger. They're like, taunting them, just like, fuck you, we're not moving the boat. It's like...
Oh, so there was already some weird entitlement.
Of course. I should say the pontoon boat, everybody on it was white, and the riverboat, a good majority of the people on that riverboat were black. So the co-captain gets off the boat and starts to untie their pontoon boat because they're like, well, if you're not going to fucking move it, I got to get these people off this fucking boat. There's hundreds of people. They got to get off the boat. And he's like, so I got to move it. I've taken it upon myself to do it. So he starts undoing the boat. And in that time, I think something of like 7 different people, predominantly men, basically attack him. Jump him and start beating the shit out of him. And people...
They're like kicking him while he's down and stuff, right? Yeah.
Kicking him, punching him, like it's horrible. Oh, but right before that, he must have known that shit was going to go down. He takes his hat, and this is a very pivotal thing. he takes his hat and he throws it in the air as if to signal people that are around, like, shit's going to get crazy. I'm going to need help.
Yeah, because then even if you don't know, that might be a signal for help. You're like, did a hat? And then your eyes are there.
Right.
Yeah.
It draws attention to you. So in that time, somebody, I think, from the upper deck of wherever starts making his way down the ramp as the co-captain is getting his ass just kicked. And this young 16-year-old boy jumps off the riverboat, swims the remainder of the river.
16-year-old boy who was raised right.
That's right. Climbs up on the dock and starts, helping him. Then in the meantime, all these other people start deboating.
Defloating?
Defloating?
Defloating? That's called sinking.
No, that's deflating. I don't know. Anyway, and so then this huge melee breaks out. People are fighting. The women are jumping in, and people are getting thrown into the river. Like, these white dudes are getting their shit rocked. I mean, rocked.
Karma'd.
Yeah, for sure. Like, people are one of the dudes jumped into the river to try to avoid the further ass kickery he was getting. Like, it was, and this guy busted out.
What a tough guy you were.
Yeah, right. Well, his, I think, wife or his girlfriend or maybe mom was still standing there, getting her ass beat. It was crazy. It was crazy. Then this dude takes a folding chair, bashes this guy over the head 3, maybe 4 times,
WWF style.
Then
who says TV doesn't teach you anything?
His wife, I'm guessing his wife, I don't even know. She's on the ground. He walks over to her and goes, whack-a-mole, just wha-boom, with the chair on her head. It looked like her head just went into her shoulders. I was like, that's totally turtled. And it was crazy. And
wait, what was that movie from back? Dana Carvey was it? It was turtle. I'm sorry. Go on.
I don't know. And it was just, and then the craziest thing is there are cops all around, just
well, that was my first question. Where were they before the brawl?
I don't know.
Because I'm assuming that dock is commissioned for a commercial boat, right?
I'm of course. So police were there relatively quickly. But unlike most situations where these kinds of things happen, they were not stop it, get off, or you're under arrest, nothing. They were just kind of and only when the chair got busted out, did they do anything and start putting people in handcuffs and stuff. But they were just
which people? The chair people or the whack-a-mole people?
Were what?
Getting arrested.
Well, the guy who whack-a-moled with the chair got handcuffed. Arrested. But I don't think he was arrested because they were hey, we want him. They were calling him. They want to call him in for questioning. So they didn't place him under arrest. Otherwise, they would have had him. So oh God, and there's so much more. Then this all breaks out and the cops are trying to detain the boaters, the pontooners, because they were the reason this all started. But they were so fucked up that they had to take them to the hospital because they had severe injuries. Oh my, that hurt. At the hospital, a good majority of the people that worked there, the nurses, the doctors, whoever, were Black. And they were we don't want to get treated here because everybody here is an N-word and we're being super racist. And so then they called the cops on the people that work at the hospital. And the cops were yeah, you can either get treated or leave. What do you want us to do?
You just want to let you know you're going to the police station.
Right. Oh, right. Exactly. Well, I don't think that quite happened yet. But the one guy I think was charged, and I think they're waiting for 2 other people to, what's it called?
Identify themselves?
To turn themselves in.
Because they didn't do their jobs and arrest them there.
I don't know why they didn't. I don't know how.
Privilege.
But this thing is so out of control. And Ed, I don't know what you've been doing, but there's nothing more important than you're going to do today. Please, then go online and search up the Alabama Riverboat Brawl and find all the videos, the memes. People are making merch. People are making folding chair earrings and selling them.
That's hilarious.
T-shirts that just say August 5th, 2023. And it's just a picture of a folding chair. It's so good. And a lot of people are very upset that a lot of white people are upset that so many Black people and non-Black people are taking joy in this occasion.
Is it joy or is it catharsis?
It's maybe both. Maybe a joyous catharsis.
Cathartic joy.
Yeah, cathartic joy. And I think what people are not understanding is like, number one, in situations like this, where a Black man is being assaulted by 7 white men, it usually ends up with the Black man dying.
Mm-hmm. And then there being no justice.
Right, exactly. And also, a lot of people, I think, to see this community come together and be like, we're not taking this anymore. We're not going to just fucking what do you want us to do? Just put our hands in our pockets and pretend like we're not seeing this happen? Like, I would go crazy.
Yeah, what is this, the 1800s?
Right. And also there's so many like coincidences. Like this dock in Montgomery, Alabama was the exact historical site where slaves were traded and beaten into slavery, like, you know, auctioned off at this place on this dock. Also, the boat is called the Harriet, like as in the Harriet Tubman. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's just too many things, and I think there's okay.
Some may even call this moment somewhat divine.
I would, you know what? I would be one of those people that would say,
maybe not
like,
the beginning part. I'm talking about the justice part.
Right, exactly.
And I don't think it's even just a matter of just like the systemic catharsis of like people of color as a whole, specifically black people, the Black community, because they've been like the brunt of all the violence from white supremacy history in America.
Of course.
But I don't think it's even just like a symbolic thing. It's about the fact that these specific white people living in Montgomery, Alabama, clearly had this idea that they were more important, their time was more important, to the point where they felt so entitled to beat up on someone because they were doing the wrong thing.
Right. And the guy was just doing his job.
Right.
My job is to get those hundreds of people off that boat.
Not to mention, impeding that. You guys having fun may have been some sort of a safety issue for the hundreds of people on board.
And also, you're just sitting in the dock. Right. What's the big fucking deal? Just move the boat. That's all you have to do.
It's only joyous in the fact that it's like this specific incident where these people who were so entitled, had so much supremacy over others, get their fucking asses beat as it should have been happening for hundreds of years.
That's something I want to speak to also is like, so many people are like focused on the chair guy because the way he hit those people with the chair, it was violent.
Jarring.
It was very like, holy shit. And so a lot of people are like redirecting their energy to that. And it's like,
but which is also fake because you're the people who coined chair breaking in the WWF. And we all know that those chairs are used because they don't yes, they hurt. If you hit anything with enough force, it hurts. But they're like very thin plastic.
I mean, regardless
Did she die?
She didn't die.
Because I'll tell you what, a lot of Black people did.
Right. She did not die. But what's happening is they're redirecting, especially because it was a man who hit a woman. Oh my God, a man hit a woman. Okay, but why are we here? How did we get here? What happened? It's because 7 white men felt so entitled that they thought in broad daylight in front of hundreds of people, they could take a Black man, attack him and beat him and not face any consequences.
For doing his job.
That to me is what I cannot fucking comprehend. And a lot of people are like, well, you know, if you were a woman and you saw your husband getting, you know, his ass kicked, you'd jump in too. First of all, I wouldn't be in that position. Okay. If somebody said, hey, you got to move your boat, I'd be like, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize my boat was in the wrong place. I would never feel like I was entitled to keep my boat there.
Also, do you know what the appropriate reaction would be if your significant other was caught in that act? I'd be divorced.
Yeah. Like,
I'd be serving divorce papers that day.
If I found out my husband was involved was beating I can't even say it out loud because he would never do that. In fact, what's actually really funny is that we were watching these videos and my husband, who is white, he's like this 6'2", heavily tattooed, bearded white dude, was like,
the whitest of white.
The whitest of white.
Only because he's redheaded.
He's ginger beard, blondish, brownish hair, whatever. He's like, I would have done the same thing. I would have jumped in and helped that Black man. I'm like, you in that situation, you can't do that.
No.
Because they can't tell who you're with.
You would have gotten
a turtle head with the fucking folding chair.
Unless you were one of those people who was in the class reunion with like a purple shirt.
But even then, I was like, so that is this is a good learning experience, I think, for those of us who might find ourselves in situations like that. If we insert ourselves, we will probably just be the ones that end up in danger because they won't know what we're doing there and who we are. So the best things that we can do, watch, pay attention, take video, stick around for the cops, and testify if you have to.
Shit, if I was there, I would have jumped in first.
I know, I probably would have too.
For sure.
But that's the problem is you can't tell who's with who. And all of the videos that I've seen of Black people who are talking about it is like, stay out of it. You're going to just end up getting hurt. And
I agree with that. I think that's a smart move. But if I was there, I would have jumped in. Even if I had gotten my ass beat accidentally, it would have been worth it. As long as I was alive. Yeah,
but remember, you have that hero complex, and it is usually to your detriment. So I'm going to just be the little angel sitting on your shoulder. So this might just be like a
learning moment.
Like, okay, but don't. And the community is saying, don't.
Yeah. Listen to the community.
And if nothing more, you're just getting in their way.
Yeah.
Because you're getting in the way of the asses who should be beat.
True.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
it's not that they need my help. I just would feel so much anger.
Of course. Yeah. Totally. I completely understand that.
So I definitely understand. But I also understand your husband's point of view.
Right. Yeah. And that's exactly who he is as a person. And I feel like if he and I were watching that, honestly, between the two of us, I think I would probably jump in before he did. But again, you got to know the time, the place, and have the wherewithal to be like, this is going to only cause a more confusion and commotion that is unnecessary and will eventually lead to something negative.
Or accidentally cause more harm to someone. You know what I mean? Like someone might get charged because I just got really injured or something. You know what I mean? Like, God forbid that happens.
And I will say, there was something really, even cathartic for me, watching that woman get thrown into the water. So like, okay, so have you ever seen the video where like three people are doing different things and they're like, watch this video, and watch a different person each time you watch it? Same thing with this. If you watch a different person in every time you watch this video, you see a different perspective of things. Like at one point, this man is getting his ass kicked. And I think his wife or girlfriend jumps in, and then a Black woman grabs her and starts beating her ass. And then this other white woman starts jumping the Black woman who's beating the white woman's ass. So then another Black woman jumps in and grabs that one woman and drags her across the fucking dock and punches her a couple times. And she's just like, you know what? Fuck you. And just throws her in the water. And I'm like, oh my God. That's so
that was the
so
best.
satisfying.
Yeah.
I did watch it.
For hours.
A lot.
Hours.
I watched it.
Multiple.
So the last day of our vacation, we had to wait for our flight, like for hours. And I was like, I'm just going to watch this until the plane comes.
Mommy, I'm hungry.
Honey, go to the Dunkin' Donuts at the airport.
Here's $100. Go get donuts.
But I think it speaks to this like grand moment that I think the Black community is having. And I think I watched another video where, there is this conversation, and of course I'm not speaking on behalf or for Black people. I'm just kind of referencing things that I've heard where, there is some contention between Black men and Black women as far as like relationships and dating and who, shows up for the other and all that stuff. There's definitely that conversation, but she was like, it's so therapeutic for us because we all showed up for each other in this moment. Yeah. And even though there are times where we have animosity and we have, our own issues, as a community, we will always stand together. And I was like, that is so fucking beautiful. And I can only imagine like how gratifying that must feel for them, even though it's in a situation that should have never happened. To see this galvanization of these people is, I don't know. I really took it to heart, and I really was appreciative to have witnessed it, and also witnessed it from the perspective of like how much I respect this group of people. And again, a lot of these people were in their 60s. And I imagine if you were in the United States graduating high school in 1975, then you were born in the 60s.
It is a or the late ass fucking circle for them.
The late 50s. Yep. Mm-hmm. So to imagine historically somebody who's born in 1958 or whatever, now in 2023 have, you know what I mean? Like
they lived through the end of segregation.
Right.
Like they lived through the end of segregation and they got to not only see, but that I can't even imagine the amount of full circle.
I mean, God, can you imagine? And to finally see that these people are being called to justice too has got to be so, is rewarding even the right word? I don't even know, but like it must feel really fucking good. It must feel really fucking good to be like, those guys are going to go to jail and they deserve it. And, you know, one of them, I guess, owns a market or like a mini mart.
They don't own shit anymore.
That's done.
Yeah. And like for the people who are going to pick the other side, and I know you experience this as much as I do when we make videos calling something out and people are like, but da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Right.
Did you not comment about the fact that someone just got their ass beat?
I know.
And you're talking about this?
The whataboutism.
That shows so much about you. You know what I mean? And I think it's the same thing. If you're focusing on these white people being beat, and you're not looking, and you're only look at it from the stance of I'm white, they're white, I have to back, like that's ridiculous.
That's
because like
insane.
You've never been in a situation where you've been wronged. Let's say your child's being bullied by these kids forever. Like you're not going to take some pride in one day watching that kid, I don't know, grow up to become a piece of shit who doesn't do anything with their lives. Like that's amazing. You know what I mean? There's this like a moment of, because like the world is full of so much injustice.
Of course.
You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that we should take justice into our own hands or anything like that, but
hey, but you know what?
In our country,
if you get called to it, sometimes that's all you can do.
Yeah. But especially in this country with the history that we've had. Yeah.
Dude, this guy made this video and was like, you know, this is so embarrassing how happy people are that this happened. Like, what if the tables were turned? I'm sorry. What if the tables were turned and a bunch of white people beat a bunch of black people? What do you mean if the tables, this is the tables turning.
You mean like, yeah, except that's the thing. It's like, but it's not. The tables, it's still the same tables. A black person was just trying to do his job, got his ass beat. Just like a black person was just trying to go for a jog, got his ass beat. Black person was just trying to sleep in their own house, died.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like all of these things, like, fuck off. Like, what if?
Also, it's like, you know, people are donating money to like their bail funds if they need it, or like their legal fees if they need it, or whatever.
GoFundMe typically cancels that shit.
Well, no, I mean, for the black people.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And people are like, you know, how can you support people who were, who were so violent? It's like, do you know how much money George Zimmerman, Derek Chauvin, all these people, they donated. That one kid who, he's a younger kid. He had like what was his name? Like he's a like baby face. Kyle Rittenhouse. Yeah. They raised so much money for their legal fees. And it's like, you're donating money to people who literally murdered people. Literally murdered. We saw them murder people. And you're giving money to them, but these people who are defending somebody else, we can't support.
The only quote-unquote common ground is the violence. But what beget the violence is completely different.
Completely different.
One, people were standing up for other people.
Right. Trayvon Martin was walking through a park.
Right.
That's it. You know?
Kyle Rittenhouse chose out of his own accord to take a fucking multiple guns and go around shooting people that he thought was guilty based off of what they looked like.
Right.
Like it's not the same
the
at all.
The inception is very, very important.
Right. And if you think it's the same thing, that says so much about you.
Right.
And then what it says about you is that you're a racist.
Oh, Susie, I can't believe you're condoning violence. I'm condoning justice. Mm-hmm. I'm condoning people standing up for themselves. I'm condoning not just standing by as a bystander watching somebody.
Condoning violence in this case would be being on those other people's sides.
Right.
Standing up for the white people. Right. Being disgusted against, like, that's condoning violence. You dumb shit.
I'm condoning 7 people jumping somebody for doing their job. That's condoning violence. And I'm not doing no such thing.
In fact, not that I have any power to do so whatsoever, but I would love to personally give that 16-year-old boy an award. Although I don't want his identity to come forward because we all know what the mobs of white people are going to do. You know?
I think he's made a lot of money though from it.
Thank God.
I know. College? Taken care of. We'll take care of it. We got you. Like whatever. Like you should see, like to have the foresight to be like, this is happening. It's going down. I can't get to the dock. Fuck it. I'm swimming there.
If that kid was my child, I'd be. Oh my God. Like, it's almost bringing me to tears. I'd be so proud.
So proud. You want a new Xbox? I got you. No problem. Yeah. New car?
Yeah.
Done. Like that. That is.
I just signed over the house to your name.
That is hero shit. That is hero shit. Like to know that
like someone should make a meme if they haven't already of like, remember that trend when like they played that Marvel song and then they all did the backwards jumping into the pool so it looked like they
this
jumped
is what
out?
happens when you're not on
Did they
TikTok.
already do
I mean,
that?
there's 16,000 of those already. Are you kidding?
Dang it.
There are people. It was quick. People have found like swimming pools and like recreated this entire scene. Had the folding chairs and every. I mean, like it was swift.
That's crazy.
Because it was such a big deal. Like this movement. I'm not kidding when I tell you, I could not swipe TikTok without seeing a video with this, which only tells me that I'm on the right side of TikTok. It was literally every single video was this. And I was like, I loved it.
Yeah, those were the 4 days that I took off. I was just like, you know what?
It was bad timing. You got to go back because it was
always bad
so
timing.
soul gratifying because it's clearly needed. It was clearly something that this community, and I think many communities needed to see, is that we're done. We're done with that. We're not going to allow this to happen anymore. And again, I think it was just like the overt entitlement that these men had that they could just, what? Like, you think you can just do that? That's crazy. Oh, and somebody goes, oh, but they were drunk. I don't care. Do you want to know how many times in my life I've been blacked out drunk and how many times I decided to just, assault somebody with 7 of my friends? 0 times.
Yeah.
0 many times. My husband, he's a recovering alcoholic. He's drank a lot. 0 times. Would never do something like that. I don't give a fuck how drunk you are. And what do they say? Drunk. What is it? Sober.
Drunk man's words are a sober man's thoughts.
Yeah. Well, exactly. So,
which I don't fully believe, but yes.
You don't?
I don't think it's always true. I've done stuff when I was drunk that I didn't mean to.
Okay. You can have that opinion.
Like I've punched someone in the face one time before just because I was so drunk and it was just like there was like no rhyme or reason behind it.
Well, impulse control is different.
Okay.
But I think you wanting to punch somebody, I don't think that that's not something you think about. I'm actually 100% saying I know you think about it. So what the fuck are you talking about?
Fair. Maybe it's just because I was so caught in the moment of like, I didn't want to cause harm to this person. But
It's not that it's not something you've never thought about. Obviously, we've all thought about punching somebody.
Yeah.
You know, I just think that drinking, of course, brings the inhibitions down.
It does, for sure.
You know?
I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying like, I don't necessarily believe in absolutes all the time.
Right.
Like not everything.
Well, and so a lot of people are like, you know, how do you know that they were racist, you know, when they jumped on the co-captain or whatever? It's like, call it a hunch. But
what do you mean? How do you not, I'm sorry. Do you need to like look at the label that says ketchup in order to know that it's ketchup without knowing that, oh, the bottle looks like a ketchup bottle. It's red, tastes like ketchup, but you have to see the label.
But the thing is they've confirmed it. They confirmed it when they went to the hospital. They confirmed it in the comments that they're leaving on their own Facebook pages. It's confirmed.
I'm sorry, what?
So I guess the market that one of them owns, people are just like blowing. I think it might be deleted now. I know you really want to find it. I'm sure you can find something about it. People were commenting like, you racist or whatever, and they're basically leaving really racist responses. So it's like, it's confirmed.
Yeah.
And I think if you're a Black person or an Indigenous person or another person of color, you can see the forest for the trees. Mm-hmm. And I think in many, many cases, and I hate to say it, but it's because it's true. Like the default is they are racist.
Look, when people say things like that, you know what I hear? How do you know that's fire? Because there's smoke, you idiot. Because I can't breathe because there's what do you mean? You don't sound educated or knowledgeable at all, you know? And like, that's the reason why I say all the time, patterns of behavior.
Right.
People are like, oh, I've gotten blacked out, just like you said.
Sure.
You don't just become racist. Those are patterns of behavior that you have.
I get like kind of slutty. It's a pattern of behavior. I'll admit it. But like, that's different. Or also, like when I get drunk, when I go into a lot of women have this experience.
Relatable.
I go into a woman's room and I'm like, you're so pretty. Oh, your hem is a little crooked. Let me fix your zipper. Your hair is kind of messed up. Or that's how I get. I don't get violent, and I don't get like, I'm going to jump the next, I don't know, insert ethnicity person here. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't happen.
Or the couple times that I do get drunk and get a little violent, I can admit the fact that it wasn't the alcohol. I was going through something before that the alcohol enhanced.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah. I mean, like you said, you got to be able to see the forest for the trees.
It was a day of reckoning. And I think a lot of people really got the message loud and clear that I feel like there was a cosmic shift in a lot of stuff that's going on. And I for one, am glad to see it.
At least I hope so.
I hope
you know
so
what I mean?
too.
I hope, because you know what they tend to do, these people.
Yeah. I just hope I hope that there's
Mayo
a way.
people are going to mayo, you know?
I hope there's a way that we as people of color can find a way to show solidarity with the Black community in ways that are, like, I'm going to buy all the t-shirts. I'm going to wear the earrings. or maybe I'll buy them for my Black friends. I don't know. But I want to contribute, because this moment to me, I was just like, this is so fucking great. I think it's awesome. I think it's fucking great.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like at the very least, I hope it sends a message to people who feel entitled to do stuff like that because they look a certain way or whatever.
Whatever.
No, I just mean like in the hierarchy of boats. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a boating person. I've probably been on like a boat less than the amount of hands that I have or fingers that I have.
But even if you're on a fucking cruise liner, or even if you own a fucking yacht, don't be a fucking asshole like that, because nothing entitles you to any of that shit. And it certainly doesn't entitle you to fucking put hands on another person, with your,
doing your job while you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing.
You know what? This might be controversial, and people might be like, I can't believe they got what they fucking deserved. They got what they fucking deserved.
Fuck around and you find out.
Welcome. What is, there's so many good memes.
Welcome to the Thunderdome.
They call the guy with the chair the chairman. It's so good. Fuck around and float. I can't remember what it was. There's so many good ones, but I'll find them. We'll put them up on the screen, because there's too many good ones. But
I guess we'll just end it with be aware of your surroundings at all times, but also act right.
Act right.
Because if you don't, you're going to find out.
Yep. Swiftly.
We're living in a different age now. Yep.
Float around and find out.
Not only are we bending over for people anymore necessarily, giving them the right to do things, but we also live in a digital age.
Right.
Where you do dumb shit, you're probably being recorded, and we're going to find you.
Right. So there you go. So on that note, act accordingly, everyone.
And while we're talking about it, we weren't. Follow us on our socials.
That was so smooth, dude. Super smooth segue. But follow us on our socials. I can be found on Instagram and TikTok at Sujia1.
I'm just trying to get my smooth back because I'm going to be dating again.
Woo! Can I come on your dates and watch you?
That's the most terrifying thing.
I'm like, hi, I'm Susie. I'm Ed's friend. I'm here to just make sure that everything goes really well.
I don't know why that's making me sweaty so much.
I actually happen to be a really good wingman, just so you know. Obviously, not on the first day, but
I was I don't think you understand your place. You're supposed to wing person before the date.
Well, I can do that too.
Get the date.
Okay, I could be like, what's it afterwards? Like to just really drive it home. Be like, Ed's great.
I can close on my own things.
I mean,
I think I say that I've never been married before.
Find out.
So what do we know? But you can find me at Etch a Sketch with a J.
Wait, so did you say the dating thing so that people who find you can?
No.
No,
that's, oh my God.
I was like,
take that part out. Take it out.
That was a weird segue. I'm rejoining the dating pool. You can find me at Etch a Sketch. I was like, oh, is that what
That is not what happened.
That was exactly what happened. Okay. We're videotaping this in case you forgot, so we can definitely find out if that was what happened.
Sometimes I don't know why the things come out of my mouth, and I'm so flustered right now. I can't really remember what just happened, so we're just gonna have to find out when this comes out. But you can find the podcast at What in the Shibal. We do still want you to write in for whatever your questions may be, but specifically if you have any asshole-related questions. Let me rephrase that. If you have any questions where you were or may be the asshole.
We are not proctologists.
Yeah. But please make sure you write in at whatintheshibal@gmail.com with any of your being an asshole related questions. Perfect. Otherwise, please make sure you follow us on our YouTube and watch us there. But if you do, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell.
Splash. It was like the boat.
The water.
The water, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure those are more like dong.
No, it was the lady getting thrown into the water.
That was her drowning.
Shit. Anyway.
Thank you for joining us, and we will see you on the next one. Okay, bye.
I'm sweating my fucking ass. Woo! All right.
For those of you watching the after part of the YouTube video, Susie has to go get her face done.
I have to do a photo shoot.
Ooh, fancy pants.
Fancy photo shoot. Do we have an after section?
On the YouTube.
We do?
Yeah. The last like 20 seconds.
Oh, well, that's fun. Something I didn't know. This is the real me. I'm a bitch.
Susie doesn't watch our own podcast. I'm just kidding. Neither do I. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, normally that part's with the main camera, but I guess you're just going to have to do a split screen.